Hello and welcome to the Flying Gato YouTube channel. My name is Elias and we're starting off today's video with a question I'd like you all to answer in the comments. The question is, do you like to have the choices to buy whatever car you feel like you want to buy? Some of you want to buy some of these cars behind me. Others would want to buy the cars that are in my garage. To answer the question for me, I obviously love a choice in which car I buy. I buy a ton of them because I like to have a choice in what I drive. Now, if you care about that, I have something to talk about. And first of all, welcome to episode 1 of Drive Talks. So we're gonna go for a little drive. We're gonna talk about this topic at length. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's go for a drive. Let's get in this red sports car, hot little hatchback. Let's have a chat about this. Now I know it seems like an innocuous question. Of course we all want a choice in what we buy in terms of our cars. Especially car enthusiasts, most of the people, actually men and women that watch this channel are car people. And you guys like your cars and enjoy watching videos about them, so of course you're gonna want a choice on what you buy. The last thing you want is not to have a choice in what you buy. I get it. But what if I were to tell you that how you vote actually matters when it comes to having a choice into what you buy? I know it may surprise a ton of you. The information I'm going to give you here is not shared. No one's discussing it. There's no news media that's discussing it. You're really not going to hear about it much. But I'm here to tell you, hey, it matters who you vote for, and this is why. Did you know that Honda's K20 and K24 engines, the VTEC engines, were some of the cleanest engines ever to be produced by any car manufacturer? They barely had any emissions at all. In fact, some people say that the air coming into it was cleaner than the air coming out of it, especially compared to that nasty California smog. And that's foreshadowing as to where our actual pollution comes from, but we'll get to that. And did you know that VTEC is one of the main reasons why I really liked Honda? That high revving, 4-cylinder, my Honda Z11, for example, has that 9,000 RPM red line, and I love hearing that rev out. The engine in this car has more power, but it's got a turbo, and it loses a little bit of character, it loses a little bit of personality because of it. I wish, if Honda sold a K20 powered Civic Type R with just 250 horsepower, let's say they made it rev out to 9,000 RPMs, I would buy that over a 320 horsepower turbocharged version. But maybe that's just me. I think that's a lot of you as well. Did you know that the reason Honda can't produce those engines anymore and sell them to the public outside of special racing programs is because the EPA, a government mandated bureaucratic institution, said that no, you can't do that. You have to keep continuously improving your EPA standards, your air cleanliness standards. And look, I'm all for clean air. All for clean air. Where I live, I have many tens of acres and we planted 35 acres of pines on those acreage. It's longleaf pine, which takes longer to produce, but it creates renewable source of mulch, which is amazing for the environment and for the economy. And it's how we build our homes. We take these pines, we put them into lumber yards, and we make lumber out of them. It's also where we get most of our telephone poles from. A highly renewable source of energy and resources for human beings. I am all for conservationism and preserving our waters and our air. I am all for that. So when I tell you that I would abolish the EPA in a second if I could, I'm coming from a place of love. Did you also know that one of the main reasons, because there's a few, but one of the main reasons why our trucks and sports cars have gotten so expensive is due to the overregulation of government? I just saw a video from JB Reviews that kind of inspired me to do this video, actually, that they said, the GMC said, that they have to sell one electric truck for every 30 electric ICE vehicles they make. So if they don't sell the electric truck, they won't be able to sell 30 gasoline powered or diesel powered trucks alongside that. That's going to reduce the supply of our combustion vehicles is going to increase the prices on that, and they have no choice. That's because there's something called the CAFE standards, corporate average fuel economy. In case you don't know that, again, I wish everybody knew this. This is kind of ridiculous that you guys don't know this. But corporate average fuel economy dictates that as a corporation, let's say Honda or Toyota or General Motors, take a look at all the vehicles they sell, not build, sell, which is very important. Average their EPA average fuel economy, and if you fall below a certain average, you get fined a boatload of money. The reason the beautiful Hemi V8s, the Hellcat engine, has been discontinued is not because Stellantis thought they were losing money on it when they sold it. It's because the government started really taking Stellantis, the owner of Dodge and Chrysler, to the bank on those fines. They were paying companies like Tesla huge subsidies from Stellantis over to Tesla and other electric car manufacturers. That's coercion at its worst. People want to buy Hellcats. Why should we stop them? It's not like that air is completely killing us. It's not like the Hellcat exhaust system is, spewing smoke into the air. It's really fairly clean air. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be parked in a garage full of a bunch of Hellcats and just breathe exhaust air, because you're going to probably get carbon monoxide poisoning. But that's not what we're talking about. That's an extreme case. When you look at where pollution is mainly coming from, it's coming from manufacturing, it's coming from power production, and it's coming from overseas. The United States has cut overall pollution, including carbon dioxide pollution, significantly in the last 10 or 15 years due to our fracking measures. If you don't like fracking, well, you don't like the environment, because fracking has allowed the United States to switch over to natural gas when it comes to power production for the most part. Natural gas is way cleaner and way better at producing energy and reducing CO2 emissions, among other emissions that are bad for human health. That's all that really matters to me, human health. If human health is not at the top of your list, then you're not an environmentalist, in my opinion. Did you know that the Camaro Z11 LE, one of my favorite sports cars, and one of them I own a Z11 LE. I love the car. It was canceled because GM can no longer afford to sell them. Every time they sold one, even with the gas guzzler tax that I paid and GM had to pay, even with all the things that they had to raise the price like crazy to pay off the government, with all of that, they couldn't afford to keep on selling them. Just like Dodge could not afford to keep on selling Hellcats. It's ridiculous. Some of you may get on here and say, well, that may be true, but Ford is still selling the Mustang. Well, the Mustang went a more fuel economy minded way with their EcoBoost and their, I call them emissions compliant engines. And the fact that Ford put the EcoBoost engines on almost all of their Ford trucks reduced their CAFE burden significantly, allowing them to sell the Mustang with the V8s. And I get it. But the way I see it is Ford made their pickup trucks worse in order to be able to sell Mustangs. See, if I want a pickup truck, it either needs to be an inline 6 diesel or a V8. None of this 4-cylinder turbo nonsense or V6 cylinders. Like, the V6 does not belong in a pickup truck. And I know a lot of EcoBoost owners, and I've driven an EcoBoost hybrid Ford, by the way, and they're fine machines, but reliability is not what they're known for. And so I'm super opposed to the government telling us as consumers what we can and cannot buy. It's the same thing with lawn equipment. If you want to buy a gas-powered lawn equipment in California, you cannot do it. There are laws against it. It's ridiculous to me that if I want a gas-powered, leaf blower, I should be able to do it if I want to. It's not, one guy leaf blowing his yard is not gonna mess up the neighborhood's environments. Just like, outside of the noise pollution, obviously. But electric ones have very similar noise pollution to gas-powered ones. I can go on. There's almost an infinite amount of government overreach that people don't know about when it comes to car ownership, buying a car you want, and just basic freedoms that we all almost take for granted. I think we do all take for granted. And so the way you vote matters. Now, I'm not going to get on here and tell you exactly who to vote for. I mean, I believe that local elections are way more important than presidential elections, for example, because your locality, where you live, dictates what you can do and cannot do. The federal government can huff and puff all it wants. The fact of the matter is, if the federal government wants to come after someone like me, they're going to have to get help from the local sheriff's department, of whom I voted in. I know where he lives. I've met his family. I know for a fact that he gets a subpoena from the federal government saying this guy needs to be in jail. He's going to ask a couple of questions, right? Because he's going to be like, wait, why? And so it's very difficult for the federal government to enforce these things without the help of local. So local elections matter way more than federal elections. And this applies to other countries. I know Europe watches these videos as well. So if you're in Europe, your locality means more than the European Union, obviously. European Union is a bunch of unelected bureaucrats, if you ask me, but you guys probably already know that. So your vote matters. And one of the last few things I'll say is that as a car enthusiast, as a car owner, somebody that cares about cars, we are a dwindling population. People don't want to listen to us anymore. People want to just write us off as people that don't matter. Okay, yeah, whatever. You like cars, it doesn't matter. Oh, you like racing cars? You took your catalytic converter off of your car to race it on a racetrack? We don't care. We're still going to make that illegal. We're going to fine you. Hell, in California, there was a state ref. If you don't know what that is, in California Air Resources Board passed a law or a rule that if your car makes excessive noise, it can be impounded, or at the very minimum, be given a ticket. And a Hyundai Veloster or Hyundai end product, I don't know exactly what it was, maybe it was an Elantra, was driving, and the guy put it in race mode or whatever it is, and it did the crackle and pops tune, right? It has a little crackle and pop. A California police officer pulled him over and gave him a ticket for a loud exhaust. And that came from the factory that way. He did not modify the car. That was that is a factory exhaust. So the fact that certain places lean that way should tell you that who you vote into power really matters. And I urge every single one of you guys that watch these videos, please vote like your car depends on it. Please vote like your freedoms depend on it. And there's only, in America, one party that will try to promote your freedom, and there's another party that's going to try to constrict it. I'll let you figure out who that is, because a lot of you guys know who I vote for. If you follow me on Instagram, for example, you know exactly who I voted for and who I'm going to vote for, etc. But if you're having a hard time figuring out who it is, go Google it. Which party has passed the most law to grow the federal government as fast as it has, and which party has tried and failed to reduce the size of the federal government? You tell me in the comments. So I'm going to close out this Just Drive and Talks video. I'm still figuring out the name, but we're going to close this out here by saying thank you for watching today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I know some of you on here are going to get on here and spread some hate. I don't hate anybody. I don't care who you vote for. It's not that important. At the grand scheme of things, I'd rather be your friend than your enemy. And as an American, from one American to another, and from one world citizen to another, all I want to do is spread love. So if you're on here to spread hate, I mean, I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to laugh at you. That's all I'm going to do. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. This is the first episode of Drive Talks. And at the end here, I'll explain what Drive Talks is supposed to be. I want this to be an unscripted, just kind of like off the cuff. I'm going to go for a little Sunday drive. And this is what I do anyway. To clear my head, I go for Sunday drives. And I think about what's, going on in the news or in public discourse. And I just think about things and take some time to clear some thoughts up. And I thought, I might as well just put a camera here and talk to you guys. I want to know what you guys think, my commenters, my subscribers to the channel. Let me know, honestly, what your thoughts are. And I'd like to hear what topics you'd like me to discuss. I'm sure there are topics that you'd like to discuss that no one else is discussing. let me know in the comments below, and I'll, if you choose something or I see a good question, I'll get in my car and do another drive talks. If I do 3 or 4 a week, great. If I do 1 a month, hey, that's just how it goes. But yeah, that's all this is supposed to be. No production value. So if you're looking for that, go somewhere else. And yeah, it's just me and my opinions. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.